Life can change in a single heartbeat. For Ethan Cole, one tragic accident erased the memories of the people he loved, but destiny was already preparing someone new to change his life forever. Inside the emergency room, the medical team worked with calm precision. Dr. David Okafor carefully reviewed Ethan Cole's condition, while Nurse Grace Johnson quietly carried out her routine duties, making sure he was comfortable and well cared for. To her, he was just another patient in need of compassion. She had no idea that this silent stranger would soon become part of her life. Several hours later, Ethan slowly opened his eyes. The room looked unfamiliar, and every face around him was a stranger. When the doctor gently asked his name, Ethan searched his mind, but found only silence. The accident had taken away every memory of the life he once knew. The doctor asked a simple question. "What is your name?" Ethan searched his memory, hoping for an answer, but the harder he tried, the emptier his mind became. Fear slowly filled his eyes as he realized he couldn't remember who he was. A few moments later, Dr. David Okafor stepped outside the room with Grace. His voice was calm, but the news was heartbreaking. Ethan had survived the accident, but the injury had stolen every memory of the life he once knew. No one could tell if those memories would ever return. When Grace returned to the room, she found Ethan staring quietly through the window. He didn't remember his family, his home, or even his own name. For the first time since waking up, he realized he had become a stranger to himself. Grace walked quietly to Ethan's bedside. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then, with a gentle smile, she reminded him that healing takes time and that he wasn't facing this alone. Although his memories were gone, a quiet kindness became the first thing that made the unfamiliar world feel a little less frightening. A question had been weighing heavily on Ethan's mind. Would he ever remember the life he had lost? Grace couldn't promise that his memories would return, but she gently reminded him that every journey begins with a single step and that he didn't have to face the unknown by himself. The days passed slowly. Each morning, Grace checked on Ethan with the same quiet kindness. Although his memories remained out of reach, he began looking forward to the familiar smile that greeted him every day. Little by little, hope began to replace fear. Every day, Ethan searched for a memory that refused to return. Faces, places, and moments from his past remained hidden behind a wall of silence. Yet through it all, Grace never stopped believing that healing was possible, even when hope seemed difficult to find. As Ethan closed the photo album he got from Grace, something stirred deep within him. It wasn't a memory, not yet. It was only a feeling, brief, distant, and impossible to explain. For the first time since the accident, he wondered if his past was slowly finding its way back. Days turned into weeks, and little by little the silence between them disappeared. Grace's kindness never asked for anything in return. Before long, Ethan found himself smiling again, not because his memories had returned, but because someone had given him a reason to hope. As Ethan grew stronger, Grace encouraged him to leave the room for short walks through the hospital garden. Every step reminded him that, although he couldn't remember where he had come from, he could still choose where to go next. As they returned from the garden, Ethan's eyes fell on a small silver keychain lying on the bedside table. He couldn't explain why, but something about it felt strangely familiar. It wasn't a memory, only a quiet feeling that refused to disappear. The moment Ethan picked up the silver keychain, a sudden image flashed through his mind. It vanished almost as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind only questions. For the first time since the accident, his forgotten past had reached out to him. Ethan struggled to describe what he had seen. It was only a fleeting image, gone before he could understand it. Grace gently reminded him that even the smallest memory was a step forward, and that healing often came one moment at a time. Just as Ethan was about to give up, a single word echoed through his mind. Sarah. He didn't know who she was, but hearing the name filled him with emotions he couldn't explain. Grace realized his memories were beginning to return. One piece at a time, the name lingered in Ethan's mind. Sarah. It felt familiar, painfully familiar, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't remember her face or why she mattered. Grace watched quietly, realizing this was the first real crack in the wall that had locked away his memories. Ethan closed his eyes, trying to hold on to the memory before it disappeared again. Instead of a complete picture, he saw only the blurred outline of a woman. Her face remained hidden, but he knew she was important. Months later, Ethan's memories had begun to return, one piece at a time, but he had already discovered something even more precious. The woman who stood beside him when he couldn't remember his past had become the reason he looked forward to his future. Sometimes the greatest love isn't the one you remember, it's the one that never leaves your side. Thank you for watching. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.